We actually
I
got
love
you
it
to
from
play
it.
rugby as well. That was good.
Once.
It counts. It counts. You played. It counts.
Oh, and I am so honored to have our dear guest here today. It's our first guest. He doesn't know what I'm going to be asking him. This is going to be a what's the term that the journalist called a blind interview?
Yeah, it's fully blind. No idea what the heck I'm gonna get
But
asked.
but what I like about this is that I couldn't have thought of a better person to speak to because this person has known me for oh wow
Very
since I
long time.
was 7.
Yeah, it's been a very long time knowing
Yeah,
each other.
so and it's the very time I've known you, so it's a two-way street.
Mm.
and and he embodies the very ethos of why I've created this particular interview, this particular talk show in the first place. Because the idea I want to get across to everyday South Africans is that we geeks and nerds are everywhere. You
There's
know,
more of us
there
than you know.
yeah, there are more of us than you know. The idea that we are a niche market locked up in Comic Con or some other corner in the market where people then have to say no, we can only cater to the international market if you want to create some content is a lie, and I'm determined to prove that it's a lie with this round of interviews by showing that pe- the geeks and nerds are working in every single facet of life, every single walks of life. They're in different places. And with you, I want to just get on with the most basic question. I know you, but let's introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us more about yourself, which is like the most generic question in history, isn't it?
Yeah, it's to say someone must tell you about themselves is like a hard thing. It's one of those. Where do I start? Where do I stop? Hmm.
Yes.
But yeah, just as a basic baseline, I am your typical everyday nerd, glasses included. Uh, the name is Papie, surname Motsuenyane. I'm 38. I'm an IT professional within government, and yeah, I'm a anime addicted gaming nerd like most friends of mine that I know, and I'm entrenched within the culture. Not as much as some people. I attend Comic Con if I get the chance. I've only been to two so far. I think I need to go to a few more. And yeah, other than that, I still do everyday stuff like everyone else.
I wanted to say that again. You're working in government, in
Hmm.
IT. People don't realize about geeks that we sort of integrated ourselves into the world so successfully. I mean,
Yeah, we're day walkers. In high school, I was playing
yeah,
rugby with
you're playing.
and
You were in the rugby team. I think one of the fondest memories are you're busy tackling someone in Boxburg.
I've been through the CBC rugby festivals. Yeah, in high school, I tried to balance both. I mean, I was in the chess club and I was also playing rugby. And I still watch rugby to this day. It's one of my favorite sports to watch, and I only learned that from being in that school and having teachers who exposed me to rugby. Same way
Yes.
as if you have someone who you expose to anime, they could either develop a love for it
Mm.
or not. I mean, my wife is downstairs and she hasn't developed a love for anime, but she likes Korean shows. So I've got her into something in the niche. It's all still part of the same umbrella. It might
It's
be
yeah.
on another side of it, but it's in part of the same umbrella. And she loves the period pieces, not even the modern day ones. It's like she likes the full on period pieces in the Korean dramas, and she's happy there. So I got her into something, and she watches them in Korean, no dubs, with the subtitles. So I that for me is a great achievement.
That's a win right there. If I have to, if you have to be honest, and I just wanted to also let you know. Look at that. You're married. You're working in IT, but at the same time, I want to let slip the one thing that people don't know is that I was introduced into anime thanks to you.
And it's a
Were it
pleasure.
not were it not for you getting me Kenshin all the way back in grade 10, I would not know what anime is today. I would have had an idea, but I would not know what it is. So that's why I'm honored to have you today here. And yeah, it's this interview is about you and your story. So, what introduced you to anime?
Surprisingly, Bob TV.
Yes. Yes.
Back in the day, the channels that existed when before
The
SABC took over
sections.
everything, yeah, Bob TV had a whole plethora of animes that were just regular cartoons for the rest of us. I didn't even know it
Yeah.
was anime specific, but Bob TV had Samurai Pizza Cats, it had Cities of Gold, it had Starzinger, we had Brave Star, and it was when
I have been looking for that name for half my life. Starzinger. Oh my
Starzinger,
God.
yes.
Oh
Uh,
God. You see, you're you're literally my anime encyclopedia. I kn-
I
I
think I
know.
might have Starzinger somewhere. I'll just have to check my drives,
Good.
and then if I do have it somewhere, yeah, I'll link you up
Oh,
into it.
wait, disclaimer. We at Color Corporation do not endorse piracy in any way.
We do not endorse pirates in any way. Buy the merch.
By the match, guys. Ding.
I was lucky enough to bump into a couple of people like in the early to late 90s, early 2000s,
Mm.
people who are watching anime as well and watching the Japanese versions of animes that I was watching in English when I was a kid. And I was like, okay, wait, how do people still have, things like Starzinger and they have it in the Japanese and Kaiketsu no Zoro, which was for us just basically Zoro,
It's just
but
a Zoro.
yeah, it
Oh,
was now there's a Japanese version of it. Okay. And then I got more and more into it. So it just blew up from there. And I'm still watching anime to this day, an odd, what, 20 something, 30 something years later. I'm still watching anime.
yeah, still watching. I haven't told you this before, but I caught myself watching when I first watched the the first episode of Code Geass that I watched.
Mhm.
It was basically the second season, the first episode, and I saw Lelouch use his Geass for the first time, and it was super awesome. And the first thing that came to my mind was thinking, I should get this to Puppy.
Code Geass is an amazing anime, yes. It is
No,
very good.
like like I told my friends, it's aging like fine one compared to the contemporary stuff that they're releasing today. And I'm specifically looking at shonen because I'm realizing that isekai is trying to
Isekai has a problem.
sort.
And Isekai,
Yes,
there's so many of them now in the genre that it's hard to filter out the great stuff from the really bad stuff.
from the crap. Yeah,
Yeah. So you can get something that's very interesting, something that's great, and then you can get things that are horrible. But what's going to be a problem for shonen? Because I've started reading a lot of the manhwa, the Korean stuff, and some of the Chinese
yeah,
stuff as well,
yeah.
and they do isekai a whole different way than the Japanese do. And
Mhm.
even with them, there's a lot of crap, yes, but there's some very big gems. Like now, I know that what's the name of the series again now? I just had it on the tip of my tongue now. I'll remember. It's getting an anime release soon, and it is it's not a full isekai, but it's got
Mhm.
isekai tropes in it as well.
In it. Okay.
And the way they did the manhwa, if they follow that baseline story, the ending was a bit rushed and it was a bit quick, yes, and that's because I don't think they've gone. I don't. They've got epics that go like into 500-600 chapters in the manhwas themselves, but
Mm.
they don't have the world building of what animes like One Piece have and what Oda has done there. So once they learn that craft, Shonen's gonna have a very bad time.
Shonen is already in trouble since I think I've mentioned it in the Netgasm before. It's like my feeling about it is that they're trying to copy way too much in the Western media type of tropes where the IP doesn't die out. They keep rehashing it over and over again, and it gets more and more tired.
And that's the problem. They're catering for a Western market when they're
Mm.
forgetting that the whole reason why the Western market got into it was because it was different from the Western market.
Exactly. I mean, I jumped out of Dragon Ball Super a long time ago, but my biggest argument is
Very
okay,
quickly.
if they're going, what's the urgency if they're gonna wipe out the universe now? What else are you going to be scared of after that? Now it's Frieza's become the very thing he hated the most, a black man, and
I'm surprised you're still even watching it. Like
I don't. I'm not
everything
watching
after
it.
the Cell Saga
I'm
doesn't
getting
exist to me.
my FYP gets inundated with these people. You know, all these clickbaity people like, "Oh my God, this is now happening," and I'm thinking.
That's when I just scroll down there, block. As soon as I hear too much Goku content, block.
I think I should. You and my cousin have given me that advice. It's like sometimes you just need to confuse the algorithm and block things. Because I think a couple of weeks ago, I unfollowed 2/3 of my follow list in my TikTok because I was sick and tired. And then I went on a blocking spree. And what I realized is that all my views suddenly dropped because I think the algorithm got shocked.
Yes. So then people getting to your
But
page doesn't happen. So that's why I generally like the YouTube side of things. It's easier to control what I see and who
yes,
gets to me on YouTube than on TikTok.
yes, it's far easier for me to track. I mean, that's why I announced a few weeks ago we crossed 1,000 views for a channel that's only 3 weeks old, officially 3 weeks old. It's impressive, and I'm
It's a
happy with the
very big
progress.
jump.
Mm. So I'm glad that we are having this discussion about all this geek nerdy stuff while you're a perfectly normal man in society, you know,
Tax-paying
which is
citizen living my life.
living your life, cursing the petrol price, cursing cursing load shedding.
Let's say, just like everybody else, same problems,
Yeah,
we deal with
no,
the same shit.
waking up to your cup of coffee, going crazy about the rugby. I heard that Romania got its ass thrashed thoroughly.
It was bound to happen, and it happened just the way it should have happened. Getting beat,
Hey,
what, 76-0, it's just
oh,
sending a message out. Just
I grew to love rugby because of the school I went to.
we actually
I
got you
love
to
it from
play
it.
rugby as well. That was good.
Once.
It counts. It counts. You played. It counts.
Oh, I think something I learned then that I think something I learned about myself back then is that I should have worked on was that teamwork and me are very difficult concepts.
Yes, that you can exist as your own island, yes, but you still
Yes.
need to exist within the ocean that is the world, and there are other islands there.
Ye-
So
Yes.
you can be in a team sport like rugby and still leave and do
Mm.
your own thing. It's fine. It's allowed.
I
So be more of a team player.
I think my deliberate keeping away from people back then was not in the sense that I don't like people. It was that I think I had a chronic fear of disappointing them. The thought of me in a rugby match and then people having to count on me to perform so that you can win was something that oh no, I'm not gonna be that I'm not gonna be that person. I'm
But
not
that's why
ready.
there's 14 other people on the field. If you mess
Oh,
up, someone's there to pick up the slack.
mm, mm. Fun times. Also, I also came to a realization you are my first editor.
Yes, you did send me your first comic.
You just shit.
Look, you've come a long way since then, which is good. But the first work of anyone, you can never really criticize because it's one of those things of, you know what, someone has poured out their passion and is giving you a piece of
I
their soul, literally like, listen, here, this is me, don't kill me. But tell me where I can improve. It's the hardest thing to go through with anyone, but at least you knew with me, I'll tell you, okay, this is good, this is that. You need to build a few things here and there, but yeah, this is good. Just go forward with it.
I think one of the most standout things that came out from me is like you said, your attention to detail has dropped. What's going on?
Yes, that I saw that
And
like a few pages later.
you no, I remember you also said that you also once sent that message to me via Facebook at one point. It's like, what's going on here? And I'm thinking, this is decades later. It's like we've left school. I'm trying to manage this work and art life thing, and the art is suffering because I have to still have to wake up and go to work. But then, how can you explain it to someone like I'm too busy to focus on the detail?
Nah, if you're gonna
The
post
answer
it
would have
out
been it's
there,
bullshit.
yeah, if you're gonna post it out there and let me see it, I'm gonna ask you what's going on.
What happened?
But I know your skill level is here. And I can see the glimpses of it, but then there's places where you're like, nah, let me do this one quick in the corner there. No, no, no. It's not gonna work, Chief.
Yeah, but it's also it's also what gave me the confidence to be honest about what I do with my artwork. You know, the way I used to lie.
Why would you need to lie?
No. People used to ask, what software are you using? And I'm thinking, bitch,
My hand, the software that I was
it's
born with, the DNA.
it's my hand. After that, it's Microsoft Paint,
Yeah.
and then the touch apps is GIMP and Inkscape if I need to. Before that, I used to say, "Oh, it's just Photoshop." Honestly, who among us can actually afford Adobe Photoshop
The full Premiere version,
legally? Don't
it's,
worry, I'll wait.
yeah, very few people. Your
Yeah.
disposable income has to be very disposable for you just to drop, what, 3,000 rand on Adobe.
Phew.
So no, I
And
mean now they've got a subscription model now, so you could pay, I think it's like 180 rand a month or something for it, but you have to do it like a 12-month thing. So you know you're still going to pay about 3,000 rand at the end of the end of the year, and you're still going to need it all the time anyway. It's not that you're going to work for 1 month and stop.
yeah, well, these softwares are trying to capitalize on the world's creativity, and I'm not here for it. We came from the world of pen and paper. We can go back there and still make awesome work, and here we are.
And there's a lot of free alternatives that are popping up. So yeah, you don't need
They are
to
indeed.
pay for everything. Yes.
I think what I've learned, we are we've been so um, indulgent with all this super expensive production value stuff that you see overseas. Like when you want to start your own YouTube channel, you need to have a set. Like you're watching all these podcasters and you're thinking, oh, wait, we need to have this camera here. We need to have a mic there. We need to have a ring light. I can't be I can't be a successful YouTuber without a ring light. And I think the truth of the matter is the content that actually matters over the quality of its presented of which it's presented. I'm not saying quality doesn't matter. It does. But if
When
the
you're starting
content
out,
if the con-
the content is what matters. I mean, Marques Brownlee is one of my favorite YouTubers, but he uses a
yeah,
Red Weapon camera. You can't afford a Red Weapon camera right now. That thing, I don't know how much that is. Like, it's you got to import it from the US, pay whatever thousands of dollars for a Red Weapon camera, and then what? What happens if you don't make money on YouTube the first 2 years? You're broke for
it
two
takes
years because you wanted to get one camera.
one
It's not.
camera. Oh, you want to get one ring light. Oh, you can't record without an iPhone. You need an iPhone. It needs to be apparently iPhone 15 has just dropped. What the hell?
It's iPhone. People actually, I don't know. I used to like iPhones. I had the iPhone 6, I had the iPhone 7. And
Mhm.
I realized later that I was actually caught up in the hype more than anything else. And I switched back to Android. I mean, I used BlackBerry for years. I was happy with BlackBerry, and then BlackBerry died. So I had to go to somewhere else. I went to iPhone. Good phones, nice phones, but there's better products. Now, Samsung is the king of the roost. If you're using anything in the highest end of the spectrum, if you're using the S23s, the Ultras, you know
Yeah.
just how good a S23 is. There's features that Apple is only introducing now that Android has had for, what, 5, 6 years? USB-C
But
started like,
you
what, 8 years ago?
but you'll never hear the iPhone people speak about that. They'll be defending the account until the cows come home.
Until the day they die, they'll defend that cult.
It, and it is a cult. Let's be honest.
It's a
Because
cult.
if your business model is us versus the rest of the world, it starts bordering on cult thinking.
Look, it's
And
a billion-dollar cult. It's a billion-dollar cult. It's worked very well for them.
okay, let's get to the main questions that I need to address. Right, you have
Okay?
been you have been consuming anime content for many years. What wisdom would you want to impart to people who want to go into creating content here in South Africa for the market here in South Africa? What would you say we should focus on?
We have I think right now for content creation, you're at a
Mhm.
precipice where you have a lot more younger people wanting to watch anime now than there's ever been in a long time. So now either you need to be one, a guiding light to give people good recommendations on what to watch and analyze a few older shows for them to watch, because a lot of them they grew up on the big three only and they only know the big three
Mm.
as anime for them. It's
Yeah,
Naruto, it's Bleach, it's One Piece. And a lot of them are too scared to go into One Piece because of how long it is. I
Stockholm syndrome.
understand. Mhm. I'm part of the Stockholm syndrome. I'm fine with it. And they're too scared to try other things as well. Like, I know you preach the Code Geass Bible all day long. And
I'd be one of those people like sitting there street in the corner, dressed up like Zero with a mask, and say, "Do you have a moment for our Lord?"
it's, but that's the thing. That's how well Code Geass touched you as an anime.
Mm.
And I just finished rewatching Hikaru no Go. Hikaru no Go is not an action
Oh
anime.
my God! I
It's a
forgot
Go anime.
you introduced me to him.
It is still one of the best story-based animes I've watched in a long time. It's got everything, that thing. It's the growth of the characters, just how they expand as people, your introduction into the game of Go itself, and it's like, okay, wait, let's see what it's about. And it just gets better and better as it goes on. And I wish they'd actually completed the whole thing and went straight up to where the manga ended, but even where it ends, it's still a good way to end the anime. It is one of the best. So, as content creators, you need to find a way to bring your most loved anime to the crowd of that's joining anime now. All these kids who are in tertiary and in high school who are just looking for new things to watch, introduce them to your favorite things and take it from there and discuss their big three and see what the new big three for them is. Although it's kind of tough because you've got things like Black Clover where I hate the voice actor for Asta because the screaming is everywhere and it's annoying. But it's life. It's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah, yeah. So I think what I'm getting from you is don't gatekeep.
Yeah, don't gatekeep. Open the
Don't
gates.
gatekeep. I mean,
Feed them. Give them things to watch. Give them a ton of things to watch.
and if they don't like what you like, so what?
You'll
They'll
find
something
someone
else.
who likes what you watch.
I mean, I for the longest time I used to be the biggest hater for 40K.
And now,
Up until I found this channel called Text to Speech Device.
mm,
It was so hilarious. It was so funny that I eventually got into into the law and suddenly
and now you like
so
Warhammer. Now it is what it is now.
it is what it is. They'll grow into it. They'll grow out of it. I used to hate Superman. I suddenly found myself defending Superman a couple of weeks ago. So
How are
yeah,
you defending Kal-El?
no. I'm defending the story of Kal-El. That's what I said.
Okay, the story of Kal-El to a certain point. DC lost their minds for a couple of years, and he was split
Yeah.
into two people. Then he
Yeah.
came like that's where I stopped with Kal-El. I was like, never again. Not going back to that nonsense.
I forgot his name is this TikTok. His name is Korean Beef. He once said quite eloquently that Superman is interesting as a good guy because he is a critique on all the so-called super powerful people in this world.
He could do whatever he wanted and rule everything, but he chooses not to.
He chooses to be a good guy, and he's looking at the super powerful beings, the dark side, everything, and he's asking them. He's basically saying, "You have all this power. Why aren't you using it to make it a better place?" I know people were screaming no in my comics, and still, it's fine. That's where I came from about Kal-El. But I'm literally God incarnate. I don't have any dimension. I could solve all the world's problems because I'm so super powerful, but I won't. It basically makes him the same hypocrite that that has been designed to be acting against this whole time.
And that's my problem with him. That even though if you want to be the good guy, help everyone. Do what you can.
Yeah.
Help everyone. You could literally end world hunger by just taking a bit of water to a certain area and planting crops. Go to that area and protect the rainforest. Go there and do something else. But you choose not to. You're like, nah, I'll wait for Darkseid to come and then I'll stop him from blowing up the world.
Yeah, that's the only time you're needed. No. You can't have your cake and eat it. If you're going to be a god, then be a god. Don't.
If you're going to be a man, be a man. Don't play both sides.
Don't. Yeah, that's ultimately my big issue with DC as a whole. There are too many gods pretending to be human.
That is the biggest problem with DC.
Yeah, but look at us going on about our hatred for DC again. All right. The final question is: do you have any message that you want to send to any young person who will be watching this, who's also a geek nerd living in the middle of Limpopo somewhere, who's lonely because he's the one who likes the things that most people in the community don't, and now he's finding solace in knowing that a normal person like you exists? What message would you want to give to them?
Live your life the way you want to live it. You can't have people control you for everything. You can live amongst the rules of normal society and still be yourself. There's a ton of other people out there who you'll find. You will leave the village, you will leave the small town, you will leave the corner of some privileged, isolated neighborhood, and go to varsity and go to work and meet other people who watch anime. My first few years working in government, there's a guy that I work with, Kakabiji. Kakabiji's from the villages of Limpopo, deep villages of Limpopo. This is a deep petty man. And this man had a wallpaper of Sasuke and Naruto, a back-to-back wallpaper on his laptop. And I was like, oh, damn, you watch Naruto as well. And that literally started our friendship in anime and at work because he had one little thing that I recognized immediately. And that'll be what happens to you as a person. Even if you're stuck where you are and you feel like no one gets you, you're going to get to a place where someone will see a cap that you're wearing that has the hidden leaf symbol or the earrings. You can have the earrings from Demon Slayer and someone recognizes just some small thing.
Beautiful. And on that wonderful note, I think we should close. Thank you so much for sticking with us till the end. Going to have many more people coming to this show to express their uniqueness, where they're coming from. Once again, with the aid to make people like you realize that you're not as alone as you think, and that's a very important message. We are not.
There's space for all of us,
and there are more of us here in this country than you realize.
Yes.
There are way more. I'm pretty sure our passions for anime, gaming, and all the lot and everything in between are the things that unite us better than any other thing in this country. We just not been made aware of it, and that's my belief. Whether it's naive or not, we'll see what time brings. But that's the message I'm determined to bring through to you today in this wonderful podcast. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. Once again, please like, comment, subscribe, but click the bell buttons and all the things like that. All right, then. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Take care.
Mr. Carlos.